Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai 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 Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. We are in the last two stanzas of chapter number 2. For the past few days, Papa was prompting us to dwell on. We have all been doing so many activities, spiritual activities under the banner of sadhana. We have been drawn by him, we have been coming to ashram, we have been associating this Hanuman chanting, bhajan, satsang, to some extent Swadhyay. But at the same time, periodic evaluation is necessary, whether it is going in, whether it is connected with our everyday life. So here is an opportunity given to us to make a stock taking, being merchant. A merchant, we all try to do stock taking for the sake of analyzing our account.
This is also being a merchant. Stock taking.
And the final account, many of you might know that it gives you the picture of your assets and liabilities. The purpose of stock taking also is trading account, it is necessary. But ultimately it will be reflected upon your balance sheet. Balance sheet means your assets and liabilities. So we have been doing this business in life. What is our actual position? Not in terms of material wealth and liabilities, but in terms of our values.
And you say it's not in terms of money.
Not in terms of
positive or negative or plus or minus.
whether the mind has got all these, whether at least the number of positive things are more than the number of negative things. All of us know we have not been able to completely wash off the negative things, but at least whether this is going on the upper side or whether we are sliding down. So these 18 slokas help us to know this, our real balance sheet. If that attitude is there, probably we may be able to derive the maximum benefit out of these 18 slokas. So in the last sloka, yesterday, a beautiful line, everybody will remember, Apuryamana Madala Pravishta. When we have reached that stage, nothing will affect us. When the river goes to the ocean, where the river joins the ocean does not get elated, depleted. It is always the same. Apuryamana Madala Pravishtam Samudramava Pravishanti Advat. Tadvat Kamayam Pravishanti Sarve Prasanti Matnoti Nakana Kanshana.
The Amazon river, you told how we just example. There is joint to the ocean. But underfed is for outward. So much water is being used into the ocean. Underfed, fully ordinary hard water. So much water is being used.
As into the ocean, brimful and still, flow the waters of various rivers without agitating the ocean. Even so, is the Muni into whom enter all desires, he or she attains peace, not the desire of the desires. So that was what yesterday we were told. So we can mentally now visualize, I should reach that stage, I cannot stop helping. So long as I open my eyes, so long as my ears are alert, so long as my nose is alert, so long as my tongue is alive, active, I cannot stop. I cannot stop getting in touch with various objects. It is but natural. But when it comes, it does not affect us. That is important. Not that I become negatively indifferent, positively indifferent. I become neutral. I try to become neutral. So that it will not affect me. It comes, but it doesn't affect me. Where should I draw the line? I don't know. We honestly feel that we can reach that stage only by praying to Him, crying to Him, catching hold of His feet. By our self-effort, no. Absolutely no. Only by His intervention we can be saved. Because we are helpless. We have got organs of action, organs of perception. There are objects, sense objects outside. It has got its own characteristics of attracting us. We have previously got attracted to it. The longing will always be there. We know that the longing will help us to slide down only, not to go up. What can we do? We cannot stop the external manifestation, external thing. Only thing is, we have no other goal but to catch hold of this case.
Can you ask whether they are able to hear?
Are you hearing? Hari Om.
Yes, Swamiji.
Good, good, good. Only by bhakti. When Papa mentioned, when we were working on the project called In Search of Papa, the first quotation he let us was that Papa, that right from the beginning, ceaseless repetition of Brahma, coupled with contemplation of the attributes, had been going on by his grace. He was aware of the grace right from the beginning. Whenever we do something, whenever we act something, we still feel, it is our own self-effort. No doubt, self-effort is there. He has given us the freedom. He has given us the choice to act. But He has given enough. Because of His bounteous love for us, we can treat ourselves as the selected one, chosen one. And He is providing us wonderful opportunities to know Him. Even to make an effort, He gives us this. That we should be aware. Otherwise it will not work. Because intellectually we are 100% convinced. There is no doubt. It is not illogical, irrational. Everything is 100% convinced. But the moment the session is over, what is happening to us? We feel helpless. So that is why here Purna Sharanagati is the only way. You keep on bringing this dimension. He says, Vihaya Kamanya, the last word for one. Vihaya Kamanya Sarvan, Umam Starati Nispraha, Nirmamo Nirahankara Sashantim Adigachati. That person who lives devoid of sensual longings, free from all desires, without the sense of I and mine, he or she attains peace. Nirmamo Nirahankara. Only by bhakti we can do that. Namama. Nothing is mine. I and mine makes for that craving. If I feel my oneness with you, my craving to that extent becomes less. I then want to satisfy your craving. That is why in a healthy society we will have a disciplined type of mind. I don't want to get everything at the cost of others. I will work for others there also. Their morality comes, ethics comes, shashantim adigachati. He or she attains peace. In other case, nothing but greed remains. There are commentators who believe that this and the following stanzas are explaining the path of renunciation, which is in fact not altogether ignored in the text of Gita. Since we said earlier, the second chapter is almost a summary of the entire divine song. It has to indicate even the sannyasa yoga, which will be later on explained at length and hinted at different places during the entire length of Gita. The stanza under discussion now seems to ring clear the significant advice given earlier by Krishna, almost at the very opening of his philosophical discussion in this chapter. He had advised therein that having conquered the mental agitation created by the pairs of opposites, fight the battle of life. The first line of the stanza explains the mental condition of one who comes to discover real peace in himself. Such an individual should renounce all desires and must be without attachment or longing. The second line describes the condition of such an individual's intellect, and it asserts that it is without any sense of I-ness or minus. Ego is the cause of all sense attachment and longing. Where the ego is not perceptible, as in sleep, there are no longings or desires in the individual. Thus, if the first line of the stanza is describing a negation of the effects of ignorance, the second line asserts the absence of the very cause from which desires and agitation arise. Where from it arises? I and mind. So steady wisdom can be ensured only by taming, tapering. Whether we will be able to get rid of this I and mind fully is a big question mark. We'll keep on trying. Because we have seen people. We have seen people in whom this me and mind is very, very less. And they are loved, adored, respected. Wherever this me and mind is less, because they are only bothered about the quality, care and concern of others. Not merely care, quality. The ego is the cause of all sense attachments and longings. Earlier in the introduction, we explained that the split in the personality of Arjuna was caused by the intervention of the sense of his ego and his egoistic desires, which broke up his subjective and objective mind into two independent islands with a vast ocean of surging waves of desire between them. With a soft suggestion, after explaining all the logic of thought, Krishna is carefully placing his finger on the very ulcer of the Pandavas' mental disease. The stanza altogether in some total suggestion advises that all our sufferings is caused by our own egocentric misconceptions and consequent arrogance, characterized by our ever-multiplying demand for wealth and our endless desires. Shankara beautifully explains this point of view in his commentary. I can do no better than quote Acharya, that man of renunciation, who entirely abandoning all desires, goes through life contented with the bare necessities of life, who regards not as his even those things which are needed for the mere bodily existence, who is not vain of his knowledge, such a man of steady knowledge. That man who knows Brahman attains peace, nirvana, and the end of all, the misery of all mundane existence. In short, he becomes the very Brahman. Hinduism considers him to be a sannyasin who has learned the art of living his life in constant inspiration, which is gained through an intelligent renunciation of his egocentric misconceptions. That is the real sannyasa. Intelligent renunciation of his egocentric misconceptions. And so then we move to the concluding. Yesha Brahmi Sthiti Partaham Nainam Prapya Vimukhyati Sitva Syamanta Kalepi Brahma Nirvanam Muchyati. This is the Brahmic stage, O son of Buddha. Attaining to this, none is deluded. Being established therein, even at the end of life, one attains to oneness with Brahma. This Sthita Prajna stage is having one being in Brahma. That is the none attaining to this becomes deluded. Being established therein, even at the end of one's life, one attains to oneness with the Brahman. This showing with the hand, Brahmistiti Pata. Arjuna, this is called Brahmistiti, getting established in Brahman. The ultimate and the intimate reality. Nainam Prapya Vimukhyati. Once you achieve this, never again can delusion overpower you. Sitva Satyam Antakale Api Brahma Nirvana. If you achieve this even at the end of your life, you have to hurry up now, many of us. Sitva Satyam Antakale Api. If you achieve this even at the end of your life, even when you achieve Brahma Nirvana, Nirvana and Brahman, becoming one with this Brahman, in this very earth, and not in any heaven. If one could not achieve this when young, one can achieve it in the old age, before the fall of the body. At the end. If one could not achieve this when young, one can achieve it in old age before the fall of the body by slowly developing enough spiritual strength. Sitva Atyam Antakalepi. Even attaining this just before death, you will achieve oneness with Brahman. Shankaracharya's comment upon this is very inspiring. If you achieve it before death, wonderful. But how much more wonderful will it be if you had got it earlier as a youth and lived under its inspiration? That is the message which the second chapter gives to every one of us. It's a rational message, a practical message, a universal message. We can all of us have this attitude developed within ourselves, and this achievement we can have in this very life. That is the teaching of the Gita. You are spiritual. Means you are aware of your spiritual nature in the context of your life and work. In the context of your life and work. You are a doctor, whether you are in the hospital, whether you are in your uniform, whether you are in the operating theatre, you are a doctor. That is there. Even when you are back home, any profession, doctor, lawyer, anything. We may not be in the field, but we are. That's what he says. So this should become a part of our life. Let us not think that this is separate, compartmentalized. You are spiritual. Means you are aware of your spiritual nature, even in the context of your life and work. In society, most people are householders who have jobs to do, social responsibilities to bear, children to look after. They can't be lying on a couch or somewhere in some mystical trance experience. They will be spiritual in the very context of their life and work. Where there is work, you need to pay attention to that work. That is how the Gita puts the message of yoga before us to make our working life deeply spiritual, emphasizing that spirituality is everyone's birthright. The infinite and immortal Atman is our true nature. So this Brahmistiti, you have to keep on. Even when I am not aware of you, even when I have neglected you, even when the masters and the sisters tell, I don't care to go deep into it, but still, now I realize, you are there. If you are not there, I am not there. Why don't you please somehow try to penetrate into my thick layers and release it? I thought by doing some spiritual discipline, by hearing, by thinking, I will be able to feel your presence. No. Of course, it has helped me, it has given me some hints, some clues. Probably I can say some preparatory measures. But still,
Till now, nobody is there, but still, he is here now. He is there. Yeah. Nobody is there. Anadi is there. And there. Krishna is there. As long as we are there, he is also there.
Only when we are not there, then when we become one with Him, the sense of individuality is not there, all these things will not be there. Anyway,
only Yamuna, yeah. That's why it is all everything. But God is still Yamuna only.
we have been asked to find out the power behind it. Power behind performance, power behind Mahatma, power behind Ramakrishna. Everything has power to form. Otherwise he gets stunted there. Varied manifestations are there. But forget about varied manifestation. I know now that these words are coming only because of your presence inside. Kindly make me aware of it. But if I start planning, it is limited. No? I can't go beyond certain level. Known concepts. So you are beyond all this. How can I with concepts become aware of your presence? All sankalpas should go from me. I must become one with you. The moment I think about you, I should be there. You make me to forget, doesn't matter. But I should know that you make me to forget and get things done as you plan. But always in the corner of my mind, just like a doctor or a plumber or a carpenter or an engineer is an engineer throughout. As soon as he grasps the technology or what you call the know-how, it is there always. When I learned the swimming, when I learned the cycling, whether I practice it or not, it is still there in me. Similarly, you are there in me. It is a blunt reality. Many of us are in the evenings of our life. We don't know when the call will come. But before that, I must connect myself to you. Not because I hate this world.
Swamiji, no sound. No audio.
No sound. Very important context.
Okay.
You hear now?
Able to hear? Are you
okay? Okay. Okay now? Okay now?
Yes, Swamiji.
Okay. So the end of this sloka again and again and again and again reminds us. Here, Swami Ranganathanji gives us some hope also, no? Don't write us off. In this very earth, if one could not achieve this when young, one can achieve it in old age, before the fall of the body, by slowly developing enough spiritual strength. Even attaining just before death. I must be conscious. I must be clear about what is the Brahmacity, By myself I cannot do that, so I pray to Him. I cannot hold. I am only having 1 liter, capacity. How can I hold the ocean? How can I try to hold the ocean? I can only try to hold 1 liter of water of the ocean. And then try to connect myself that this is a part of the ocean. please step in. Days are running out. Time is running out. This sort of restlessness. That should be well. So the end is so beautiful. Starting from, how Prajahadi, from there it started. And if you closely observe, so many clues, directly related to our life have been highlighted. First stanza itself is said about Atmanyev Atmana Tushtaha. Contentment, fullness, Purnam. Whenever we get some time during our waking hours, we snatch a few seconds and keep on asserting Purnamada, Purnamida, Purnat. I am Purnam, I am Purnam, I am Purnam. Again we are back. Okay. My original nature. I am not incomplete. I don't have any deficiency in me. I am the all-pervading. All these Mahatma keep on doing, then we were not able to understand. I must get in touch with my core now. So by repeatedly asserting, I am full. And then how will I know? When adverse circumstances come, when positive incidents happen, I neither get depressed or nor elated. How does it arise? Because I am free from attachment, fear and anger. Like that, one by one, we are building up. But every time mentioning about this is a person. Then what is it that is blocking me? Me and mine. I become unaware of what all he has given. I fail to recognize. And the three words here, very important, please. Integration with the society. Integration with the nature. Integration with the mind. This is a practical clue. No? I am comfortable with everything. That will give me only the Purnatam. No? I don't feel discomfort with an individual. I am not comfortable with certain individuals. I am not comfortable with certain objects. I am not comfortable with certain situations. Now, having been given the clue, I am trying to make sure I should become comfortable with everybody. Pujya Swamiji in his last letter had made a mention that there should not be anyone who is not entitled to receive my love. He may differ with me at the individual level. I may differ with him at the individual level. But my love should go to him. There should be nobody in my list where the Hindu mass is there. Everywhere it should be tick only. So the three words, integration with the society, integration with Mother Nature, integration with the mind. When I integrate myself with the mind, which is the asset, which is now helping me to think about him, to dwell on him, to move towards him. Whenever I am a slave of any of these objects, I forget. I am not integrating. But when I harmonize with this mind, the upper mind, the lower mind cannot take me. It may drag me, but I will have the sufficient pull to pull me back. When the tug of war goes on, at times, the opposition party will be dragging us. But immediately the other party will be dragging to their side. Compulsory. We thought it was only a sport, but actually it is a depiction of our mind. So this is a conflict that is going on in everybody's mind that is portrayed by this sport. So this, in this tug of war, if I am comfortable with my mind, I will be able to stay firm and will not give in. Give in to greed, give in to craving, infatuation, desires. I will be able to identify it as a creature, as a craving. That means I am detaching myself. I am not slipped into it. There is a laboring going on. It is with that intention that prayer is introduced. I come in all humility to thy holy feet and surrender myself entirely to thee. So like that, we keep on asserting. My surrender is not complete, that is why I am not progressing. So somehow you make my surrender completely. Whatever that is there, blocking my surrender, please remove. I cannot remove it. So he built up his 18 slokas. Adharyati Ragaman Sarvan Parthamanopadan Atmanyevapna Pustaha Chittaprajna Paruchini. When completely one casts away all the desires of the mind, satisfied in the self, alone by the self, then he or she is said to be a man of steady wisdom. Purna. The next one we say, Dukkeshu Anidvigyamna, Dukkeshu Vikarasvana, Vitaraga Vayakroda, Sithadir Nirujyate. One whose mind is not shaken by adversity, one who does not hanker after happiness, who has become free from blind attachment, fear and anger, is indeed the Muni or sage of steady wisdom. The Sarvapran Abhisneha Satat Prapti Shubhashubam Navinandati Nadveshti Satya Prajna Prishtala. One who is everywhere unattached, not pleased at receiving good, not vexed at evil, fit for her wisdom is steady. No elation, no delusion. Shubhashubam. Yada samvarade chayam kurmanganiva sarvasha indriyan indriyatebhya tasya prajna. Everybody will remember tortoise. When also like the tortoise drawing its limbs, one can completely withdraw the senses from their sense objects. His or her wisdom becomes steady. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehineha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva. Sense objects fall away from the abstinent person, leaving the longing behind. But even that longing ceases when one realizes the free, surrenders to the free. Jatato hyavi kaunteya purishasya vivasthitaha indriyani pramadhini aranti pakarvana. Now God starts telling us how we should be alert, what all happens. The turbulent senses, O son of Kundi, do violently snatch away the mind. Violently snatch away the mind. We have no time to think about all these things. By the time it takes it. The mind of even a wise man who is striving after perfection. Clear-cut warning. Our mind says we have almost controlled everything. Suddenly there is a click. Then, Tani Sarvani Samyamya, Yukta Asida Matparaha, Vashehi Yasya Indriyani, Tasya Prasnapishna. Steadfast, having controlled them all, sits focused on me as the Supreme. If her wisdom is steady, whose senses are under control. Now the sliding down. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa, Sangasteshu Vijayate, Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha, Kamat Krodho Vijayate, Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha, Sammoha Smriti Vibramaha, Smriti Pramsha Buddhinasho, Buddhinasha. Thinking of sense objects, attachment to the form. From attachment rises desire to possess. From longing, anger emerges. From anger comes delusion. From delusion, loss of memory. From loss of memory comes the ruin of discriminative power. And from the ruin of discrimination, a person perishes. How do we fall in life? When you go on thinking over and over again about the sensory objects and finding them very attractive, what will happen? Mind develops an attachment to it. I like it. First I am only seeing it. Then I have already got glued to it. Attached to it. Then what happens? You are remembering a poem. Cockroach food. Bharata Sriyudan Bhavasham. One day Humayun was taken in a palanquin. From the second floor of the building, my balcony, he saw a lady after her bath, she was combing the hair. This Humayun stared at her for a few seconds. He had an assistant called Usman Khan. Usman Khan noticed this. They after that Humayun went there, but he was in a pensive mood. There. This Humayun, on those days, those ladies even they only go from place to place in close time. When she was about, Usman Khan was watching her movement. So when she was going from one place to another, the relations were complete. He bribed them, the parents, and brought them to the palace. Suddenly, when she removed the curtain, she was in the palace. She became shocked. Then this Usman Khan says, I am Paskaran Allanan, Karmadi Allanan, Mashkaran. I am not a thief. I am not a rogue. This is what happened. So I thought, if you become one of the queens of our emperor, you will be happy, she will be happy. And by the time, she couldn't say anything. By the time she was brought to Humayun place. Immediately he looked at her. You remember this? How the upper mind on. Immediately he asked, you have given your consent to become mine? Then immediately she says, I am not a virgin. I am a housewife. And my husband is my life. Immediately, how did she come here? So, immediately, Usman Khan, I bribed her and brought him. He immediately took his sword and was about to kill him. And he says, Mapilama says that you go to me, Mapi Humayun. I never meant anything like this. Oh, and all these people. Oh, mother, accept my apology. And he said he was about to put him in the jail. And tomorrow we will pass it. So immediately she said, you are told you not know the consequence. But they know in one moment they may do it. So kindly, pardon. He did not do anything. He thought he assumed certain things. He took it as granted. He never checked it out. He never talked. I did not see him. Because I was inside the palanquin, which was closed. And she was dispassionately explaining. And then he said, even a person who has taken you for a wrong thing, even then you have got the vision to forgive them. I will do for you. This is how it ends. Why we is taken? It is not that they are giving in. Where whatever may be the temptations or cravings are there, the mind is there. Integration with the mind is there always in Humayun. Integration with the mind is always with that lady, the housewife. And Usman Khan, we can say he chapalam. He did not think. I should check up with her. I should talk to her. In the poem he elaborates. If you become the queen of this land, what all you will get. That was how he started working. But the moment when he went there, finally he gives a lot of offering, and with his apology, he asked the people to take her back to the house. And he assures, in our country, industry is always the industry. There's a wonderful poem taught to us, and still we remember, Narayana. I don't know how to translate that. Nobody will be seen, no? The light will be there, and the screen will be there, white screen, and the characters will come there. Only through the shadow you can understand. And this poem will be there, set to raga, different raga. No. Shadow will be there. Shadow, human being. You see Humayun lying down like this with a beard. You find one shadow coming, one lady coming. And then, no, there won't be any dialogue. Only this one. See, this was in 51 in Calcutta High School. Even at the tender age, it had captured our mind. It was so grand, I tell you. The entire audience, they gave applause and applause and applause after the last line. Because they are bringing spirituality, ethics, morality, everything there. And also now we find the Sitaprajna. Who is the Sitaprajna? He is not carried away. He was the emperor. And she said, Matsenu Kaipuraya. Whenever somebody commits something, to err is human, no? That broad thing, no? I am not confining myself to that particular incident and the individual. I am trying to rise above and see. Matsenu Kaipuraya. To err is human. No? Forgive. He has realized. So this is not a thing only this Brahmistry or what about this steady man, steady wisdom. It has helped, it has been helping. Even in our life we would have. We are not aware. We are now praying to him. This is you are now touching and kindling in me so many persons who have been able to make it a reality in their life. So it is not a superhuman effort. The only thing is, your grace should be there. Grace should be there to persevere this. So many such things. Then only this slogan becomes clear to us. We are trying to integrate it with workaday life. Workaday example. Not Puranic. Puranic stories may be there, may not be there. We don't know. But here something, contemporary. And you can imagine the text committee brilliant, in selecting such things. The textbook. There will be a textbook committee, for every state. But think about the standard of the teachers. The children should get this. Though they may not be directly telling about values, they are injecting these ideas, through all this. This was rendered by Vallapur Narayana. When we read it, the sliding down is going on, but still he was able to pull it up. Krodhat bhavati sammohat, sammohat vidivibhrama, vamshat, vidyinasha. Then, after that, ragadvesha viyuktaistu, vishayan indriyaisharan, atmaveshya vidheyatma prasadam adhigachati. But the self-controlled person, moving among sense objects with the senses under one's restraint and free from attraction and aversion, attains to tranquility. He is not carried away. The self-controlled person, moving among sense objects with the senses under one's restraint and free from attraction and aversion, attains to tranquility. Attraction and aversion both. Then, prasade sarvadukhanam hanirasyopadayate prasanna chetaso bhashashu buddhi paryavadishta. In tranquility all sorrows are destroyed, for the intellect of one who is tranquil-minded is soon established in firmness. That is prasada. Prasada means peace. Nasti buddhir ayukkasya, najayukkasya bhavana, najabhavayata shanti, ashantasya prasva. No knowledge of the self has the unsteady. If I don't remember about the self, if I forget about the self, it will be unsteady. Knowledge of the self can come through so many ways, small ethical life, for example. Our culture, our tradition. So it can come through so many things. Our faith. Nor has he or she meditation. To the unmeditative, there is no peace. How can one without peace have happiness? Ashantasya prasva. Indriyanam hi jarada. Yanmano anvidhiyate satasya haradi prajnam vayurnavam vamrati. For the mind which follows in the wake of the wandering senses carries away his or her discrimination as a wind carries away from his course a ship on the waters. The discriminative faculty is carried away. That means I lose my balance. Then, tasmatasya mahabhaho nigrihitani sarvashaha indriyan indriyatebhyo tasya prajna prasthita. Therefore, O mighty arm, his or her knowledge is steady, whose senses are completely restrained from their objects. Yanisha sarvabhudanam tasyam jagata samyami yasyam jagati bhutani sanisha pashyato mune. That which is night to all beings, in that the self-controlled wake, that in which all beings are awake, is night to the self-being. He is not enticed, he is not attracted. Apuryamanam adala pravishtam, samudra bhavam pravishanti yadvad, sadvat kama ayam pravishanti sarve, prashantim apnoti. As into the ocean, brimful and still, flow the waters of various rivers without agitating the ocean, even so is the Muni, into whom all desires enter. he or she attains to peace, not the desire of the desires. Vihaya kaman yasarvan umamsharadi nispradaha nirmamo niragankara sashantim adhigacchati. Finally, he brings it of the me and mine. That person who lives devoid of sensual longing, free from all desires, without a sense of I and mine, he or she attains peace. Yasha brahmisthiti partha nainam prapya vimukhyati sitvat syamanta kalecha brahma nirvana. This Siddhaprajna state is having one being in Brahman who is attaining to this. None attaining to this become deluded. Being established therein, even at the end of one's life, one attains to oneness with Brahman. So here he gave us a hope also that we don't have to fight on. Even at the fag end of our life, we can still try. We can still hasten our journey. We can intensify our prayer. Whatever may be the limitation of the body, whatever may be the limitation of anything else, still, if I am contented, if I am well rooted, by His grace, I can pray to Him, plead with Him, appeal. I don't want anything. Connect me to the core of my being. Papa, switch on your wire for direct communication. Why do you deny Him in your heart? Switch on your wire for direct communication. Why do you deny Him in your heart? No. God does not need any intermediary. If you think God can talk to Ramdas, He can talk to you as well. Because you cannot accuse Him of partial. This is one of the wonderful quotations of Papa. That means He is there in full in everybody, in entirety. Everybody is full, everybody is fair. Heirs of immortal bliss. Chidmandu Vishwe Amatasya Putra. Vivekananda's clarion call. Hey, look here, you are all Amatasya Putra. So we are trying to remember this. We thought we are so and so, so and so, so and so. No. We are not so and so. We are that. We have to somehow reach that. We have to become the owner of that, not the owner of all these. That stage, He gives the clarion call here.
Divine child of the divine parent. Divine child of the
divine parent. No doubt. I am the inheritor. That is why I claim a hearing. You remember Jnanandaji? I claim a hearing. I am the claimant. You cannot deny me. I have come from you. No doubt. I have forgotten you. I have gone astray. I have neglected you. I have disobeyed you. And then I am suffering now. But still, I am your child. And you cannot forsake me. You cannot forsake me. When we do that, He will forgive everything. When we go to Him with that, that bhavana. That is why that Jnanandaji said, prayer is so touching. The ego born out of me. The ego born out of me has now become a mighty power, ruling over me relentlessly. In front of this usurper of my bosom, I am but a slave. To free myself from this great inner tyrant, I need now a mighty friend, a powerful, sympathetic friend. And who can it be? Except you, my Lord. Save me, help me please. And even here, what right have I? The slave of my own passions, the non-believer all these years, non-believer of you in me. seek your help now? True, I have no face to meet thee. O Lord, I have nothing to offer thee except my own tears. I have nothing to claim for myself except the fatigue of my indulgence, the stink of my selfish acts. I parade before my mind the sweat of my passions, the cost of my attachments. In fact, I don't deserve to be saved, yet now, beaten out completely, exhausted thoroughly, repentant fully, helpless wholly, I claim a hearing in spite of all these, and I expect help from thee. Art not thou the ocean of Kripa, thy kindness and thy love? Won't thou, in thy kindness, take pity on me, and once more destroy the old Verimi Mura in my bosom, the bundle of my own wretched Vahana? So like that, we have to somehow, when we keep on tapping the road, he will open. So when we offer Ramnam at the holy feet of our Ishta Devada Guru, this must be there. You made us to know how to get ourselves upgraded to this Sthita Prajna. But I have not been able to hold. So please step in and provide me with whatever that is needed for me. I have to keep on praying, and then I am offering this holy Ramnam to empower us, to make me aware of your presence. Because I know the moment I become aware of you, all these things will go away. Because in you everything exists. At the moment, the other thing exists for me. All my sense objects only exist for me. But the moment I realize you, everything exists in you. I get a comprehensive view of it, and this becomes insignificant. It doesn't attract me. Simple. So I want you. I must remember you only. I am not asking anything else. I must remember. I must become aware of you. That is enough. Because the moment I become aware of you, that instant you will cleanse. Because without cleansing you will not give me, I know. Yeah. But the moment I become aware of you, whether I deserve it or not, you have to, because I am your child. You cannot forsake me. You cannot live with me, I cannot live with you.
No.
That is also there. You cannot somehow forsake and go away. I know now how to do it. Please, Papa's wonderful exposition in the Inquest of God. Cave, outpouring from the cave. There he makes us closer to him. There he makes us aware of our rights, our eligibility. When he says, I claim a hearing. On what protection? I am yours. I would have forgotten. I would have committed certain mistake. Agreed. All these years I did not meet. But still I am yours. You can forsake me. But that's bhakti, bhakti in some form. That is developed in our heart. And we are deeply grateful to him for having motivated us to dwell on the 81st stanza in the second chapter. As said earlier, Mahatmaji used to insist that in Sarvadi Ashram every day they should be reminded. This should be recited. Because that much, because it is the quintessence of man's evolution. It is superb stroke. Every time he comes, whether it is complete, he adds one more. Again comes one more. again comes one more. 54 to 72. So let us all get there. Tomorrow we will try to go to it again, and as we said, for the next 2 weeks, we are having a break. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.